I think you have a unique point of view on this from a lot, among a lot of people coming out of government and the intelligence community, which is you've experienced something weird like this, and you actually think that's a reason there should be some disclosure. So can you say more about that?
Yeah. First of all, let me clarify that I don't call my experience abduction at all. Because I have no clue what it is. As far as I'm concerned, I believe it to be an experience that was otherworldly. But that's just my belief. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about a million things in my life. So I just leave that out there hanging. But when you have so many people, many members of the Soul Foundation who have had these anomalous experiences, and they've either gone through their own version of, rejection or their own version of trauma, and they don't know what to make of it. Once again, there's not a book you can pick up. You can't go to a psychologist and say, yeah, what's the literature on this? And most psychologists don't know. And they're trying to deal with this. My friend Chris Bledsoe, what he went through, terribly traumatic. It wrecked him. It wrecked his family. Thank God they all sort of came back together again, and things are looking up for Chris. But there's an explanation. That's, if the government knows something, don't you think they have a moral and ethical obligation to basically explain to people, no, you're not crazy. No, these are not, 500,000 people are not having the same dream. And if they are, you got a whole different problem, that you're dealing with. So why are they all hallucinating the same dream? So I think, but once again, though, when I say that, it pulls me back. And I say, do these other aspects of disclosure trump that? Boy, I tell you, that's a hard decision to make. And I would say, you better have a damn good reason not saying something, because too many people have suffered for too long with this. And, and I personally met many, many people. I can't tell you how many times a week I just got one from Sweden the other day. A gentleman just wanted to talk. He said, didn't know what to do with it. And I get this all the time. And I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what to tell him. I usually refer him out, to somebody who knows, who deals groups that deal with this. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that the people who are dealing with disclosure right now in the government, are looking at this too and taking that into account. That said, it's not unprecedented that the government, not mention something because something else, security matters, trump, whatever's out there. So, I've seen instances of that in the intelligence service. Where I remember once I had a young man who worked for me, came to me with some information that was absolutely startling, and regarding nuclear weapons in a particular country. And not only did he have the goods on this country, we found out where the information came from. You name it, we had it. And so I remember he wrote up the report. We sent it right to the White House, and expecting to see it, in the PDB within the next few days or a couple of days. Nothing. And when we inquired, we were told very politely that, this is how this works. The president gets to choose what information he releases and not releases, because he has to make the decision whether it's in the interest of the United States to release that information in any form to anybody except, say, the president, secretary of state, Department of Defense. So he makes that decision. They do that all the time. And it's a daily occurrence with the president. And so he makes those decisions. So, the legacy program, is clearly, if anything, an executive program. And it belongs to the executive branch. And this is one of the problems when you have Congress is trying to basically go to the executive branch and say, something that we're spending money on, and you owe the American public, you owe them an explanation because you're spending their money, and therefore you should be able to tell them. The president or the executive branch is basically coming back and saying, No, in this particular case, we don't. We don't tell the American public about these type of weapons programs or this, that, or new advances in technology. Now, granted, this is a whole lot different. This is the story of the millennia, and that's not an understatement or an overstatement. And but it's fraught with difficulties, and I sort of understand both sides of the ticket here.